Chapter 14. When at that time Herod the Tetrarch heard the report concerning Jesus, too, and said to his servants, "This is John the Baptizer. He is risen from the dead. That is why these powers work in him." 3. For Herod had arrested John, bound him, and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. 4. For John said to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." 5. When he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. 6. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced among them and pleased Herod. 7. Therefore he promised with an oath to give her whatever she should ask. 8. She, being prompted by her mother, said, "Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptizer." 9. The king was grieved, but for the sake of his oaths and of those who sat at the table with him, he commanded it to be given. 10. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. 11. His head was brought on a platter and given to the young lady, and she brought it to her mother. 12. His disciples came, took the body, and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. 13. Now when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a deserted place apart. When the multitudes heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. 14. Jesus went out, and he saw a great multitude. He had compassion on them and healed their sick. 15. When evening had come, his disciples came to him, saying, "This place is deserted, and the hour is already late. Send the multitudes away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves food." 16. But Jesus said to them, "They don't need to go away. You give them something to eat." 17. They told him, "We only have here 5 loaves and 2 fish." 18. He said, "Bring them here to me." 19. He commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass, and he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed, broke, and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitudes. 20. They all ate and were filled. They took up 12 baskets full of that which remained left over from the broken pieces. 21. Those who ate were about 5,000 men, in addition to women and children. 22. Immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. 23. After he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into the mountain by himself to pray. When evening had come, he was there alone. 24. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, distressed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. 25. In the 4th watch of the night, Jesus came to them, walking on the sea. Star of David. 26. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It's a ghost," and they cried out for fear. 27. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Cheer up, it is I, don't be afraid." 28. Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the waters." 29. He said, "Come." Peter stepped down from the boat and walked on the waters to come to Jesus. 30. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Lord, save me." 31. Immediately Jesus stretched out his hand, took hold of him, and said to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" 32. When they got up into the boat, the wind ceased. 33. Those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, "You are truly the Son of God." 34. When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. 35. When the people of that place recognized him, they sent into all that surrounding region and brought to him all who were sick. 36. And they begged him that they might just touch the fringe of his garment. As many as touched it were made whole. Chapter 15. 1. Then Pharisees and scribes came to Jesus from Jerusalem, saying, 2. Why do your disciples disobey the tradition of the elders? For they don't wash their hands when they eat bread. 3. He answered them, "Why do you also disobey the commandment of God because of your tradition? For God commanded, 'Honor your father and your mother,' Star of David, and 'He who speaks evil of father or mother, let him be put to death.' Star of David. 5. But you say, 'Whoever may tell his father or his mother, whatever help you might otherwise have gotten from me is a gift devoted to God.' 6. He shall not honor his father or mother. You have made the commandment of God void because of your tradition. 7. You hypocrites! Well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, 8. These people draw near to me with their mouth, and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. 9. And they worship me in vain, teaching as doctrine rules made by men. Star of David. 10 He summoned the multitude and said to them, "Hear and understand. 11 That which enters into the mouth doesn't defile the man, but that which proceeds out of the mouth, this defiles the man." 12 Then the disciples came and said to him, "Do you know that the Pharisees were offended when they heard this saying?" 13 But he answered, "Every plant which my heavenly Father didn't plant will be uprooted." 14 Leave them alone. They are blind guides of the blind. If the blind guide the blind, both will fall into a pit. 15 Peter answered him, "Explain the parable to us." 16 So Jesus said, "Do you also still not understand?" 17 Don't you understand that whatever goes into the mouth passes into the belly and then out of the body? 18 But the things which proceed out of the mouth come out of the heart, and they defile the man. 19 For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, sexual sins, thefts, false testimony, and blasphemies. 20 These are the things which defile the man, but to eat with unwashed hands doesn't defile the man. 21 Jesus went out from there and withdrew into the region of Tyre and Sidon. 22 Behold, a Canaanite woman came out from those borders and cried, saying, "Have mercy on me, Lord, you Son of David. My daughter is severely possessed by a demon." 23 But he answered her not a word. His disciples came and begged him, saying, "Send her away, for she cries after us." 24 But he answered, "I wasn't sent to anyone but the lost sheep of the house of Israel." 25 But she came and worshipped him, saying, "Lord, help me." 26 But he answered, "It is not appropriate to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." 27 But she said, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table." 28 Then Jesus answered her, "Woman, great is your faith. Be it done to you even as you desire." And her daughter was healed from that hour. 29 Jesus departed from there and came near to the Sea of Galilee, and he went up on the mountain and sat there. 30 great multitudes came to him, having with them the lame, blind, mute, maimed, and many others, and they put them down at his feet. He healed them, 31 so that the multitude wondered when they saw the mute speaking, the injured healed, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they glorified the God of Israel. 32 Jesus summoned his disciples and said, "I have compassion on the multitude, because they have continued with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat. I don't want to send them away fasting, or they might faint on the way." 33 The disciples said to him, "Where could we get so many loaves in a deserted place as to satisfy so great a multitude?" 34 Jesus said to them, "How many loaves do you have?" They said, 7 and a few small fish. 35 He commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground. 36 And he took the 7 loaves and the fish. He gave thanks and broke them, and gave to the disciples, and the disciples to the multitudes. 37 They all ate and were filled. They took up 7 baskets full of the broken pieces that were left over. 38 Those who ate were 4,000 men, in addition to women and children. 39 Then he sent away the multitudes, got into the boat, and came into the borders of Magdala. Chapter 16 One the Pharisees and Sadducees came, and testing him, asked him to show them a sign from heaven. 2 But he answered them, "When it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. 3 in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and threatening. Hypocrites, you know how to discern the appearance of the sky, but you can't discern the signs of the times. 4 An evil and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and there will be no sign given to it, except the sign of the prophet Jonah." He left them and departed. 5 The disciples came to the other side and had forgotten to take bread. 6 Jesus said to them, "Take heed and beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." 7 They reasoned among themselves, saying, "We brought no bread." 8 Jesus, perceiving it, said, "Why do you reason among yourselves, you of little faith, because you have brought no bread? 9 Don't you yet perceive or remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000, and how many baskets you took up? 10 Or the 7 loaves for the 4,000, and how many baskets you took up? 11 How is it that you don't perceive that I didn't speak to you concerning bread? But beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." 12 Then they understood that he didn't tell them to beware of the yeast of bread. but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. 13 Now when Jesus came into the parts of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? 14 They said, Some say John the Baptizer, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. 15 He said to them, But who do you say that I am? 16 Simon Peter answered, You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. 17 Jesus answered him, Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. 18 I also tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my assembly, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. 19 I will give to you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will have been bound in heaven, and whatever you release on earth will have been released in heaven. 20 Then he commanded the disciples that they should tell no one that he was Jesus the Christ. 21 From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders, chief priests, and scribes, and be killed, and the third day be raised up. 22 Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, Far be it from you, Lord, this will never be done to you. 23 But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of men. 24 Then Jesus said to his disciples, If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. 25 For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, and whoever will lose his life for my sake will find it. 26 For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his life? Or what will a man give in exchange for his life? 27 For the Son of Man will come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he will give to everyone according to his deeds. 28 Most certainly, I tell you, there are some standing here who will in no way taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
Chapter 17 One after 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John his brother, and brought them up into a high mountain by themselves. 2 He was changed before them. His face shone like the sun, and his garments became as white as the light. 3 Behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them talking with him. 4 Peter answered and said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you want, let's make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. 5 While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. Behold, a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. 6 When the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were very afraid. 7 Jesus came and touched them and said, Get up and don't be afraid. 8 Lifting up their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus alone. 9 As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, Don't tell anyone what you saw, until the Son of Man has risen from the dead. 10 His disciples asked him, saying, Then why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first? 11 Jesus answered them, Elijah indeed comes first, and will restore all things. 12 But I tell you that Elijah has come already, and they didn't recognize him, but did to him whatever they wanted to. Even so the Son of Man will also suffer by them. 13 Then the disciples understood that he spoke to them of John the Baptizer. 14 When they came to the multitude, a man came to him, kneeling down to him and saying, 15 Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is epileptic and suffers grievously, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. 16 So I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him. 17 Jesus answered, Faithless and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long will I bear with you? Bring him here to me. 18 Jesus rebuked the demon, and it went out of him, and the boy was cured from that hour. 19 Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, Why weren't we able to cast it out? 20 He said to them, Because of your unbelief. For most certainly I tell you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you will tell this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. 21 But this kind doesn't go out except by prayer and fasting. 22 While they were staying in Galilee, Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is about to be delivered up into the hands of men." 23, and they will kill him, and the third day he will be raised up. They were exceedingly sorry. 24, when they had come to Capernaum, those who collected the didrachma coins came to Peter and said, "Doesn't your teacher pay the didrachma?" 25, he said, "Yes." When he came into the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth receive toll or tribute? From their children or from strangers?" 26, Peter said to him, "From strangers." Jesus said to him, "Therefore the children are exempt." 27, but lest we cause them to stumble, go to the sea, cast a hook, and take up the first fish that comes up. When you have opened its mouth, you will find a stater coin. Section, take that, and give it to them for me and you. Chapter 17. 1 After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John his brother, and brought them up into a high mountain by themselves. 2 He was changed before them. His face shone like the sun, and his garments became as white as the light. 3 Behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them talking with him. 4 Peter answered and said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you want, let's make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." 5 While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. Behold, a voice came out of the cloud, saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." 6 When the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were very afraid. 7 Jesus came and touched them and said, "Get up and don't be afraid." 8 Lifting up their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus alone. 9 As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus commanded them, saying, "Don't tell anyone what you saw, until the Son of Man has risen from the dead." 10 His disciples asked him, saying, "Then why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" 11 Jesus answered them, "Elijah indeed comes first, and will restore all things." 12 But I tell you that Elijah has come already, and they didn't recognize him, but did to him whatever they wanted to. Even so the Son of Man will also suffer by them. 13 Then the disciples understood that he spoke to them of John the Baptizer. 14 When they came to the multitude, a man came to him, kneeling down to him and saying, 15 Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is epileptic and suffers grievously, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. 16 So I brought him to your disciples, and they could not cure him. 17 Jesus answered, "Faithless and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long will I bear with you? Bring him here to me." 18 Jesus rebuked the demon, and it went out of him, and the boy was cured from that hour. 19 Then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, "Why weren't we able to cast it out?" 20 He said to them, "Because of your unbelief. For most certainly I tell you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you will tell this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you." 21 But this kind doesn't go out except by prayer and fasting. 22 While they were staying in Galilee, Jesus said to them, "The Son of Man is about to be delivered up into the hands of men." 23 And they will kill him, and the third day he will be raised up. They were exceedingly sorry. 24 When they had come to Capernaum, those who collected the didrachma coins came to Peter and said, "Doesn't your teacher pay the didrachma?" 25 He said, "Yes." When he came into the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth receive toll or tribute? From their children or from strangers?" 26 Peter said to him, "From strangers." Jesus said to him, "Therefore the children are exempt." 27 But lest we cause them to stumble, go to the sea, cast a hook, and take up the first fish that comes up. When you have opened its mouth, you will find a stater coin. Section, take that, and give it to them for me and you. Chapter 18. 1 In that hour the disciples came to Jesus, saying, "Who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" 2 Jesus called a little child to himself, and set him in the middle of them 3, and said, "Most certainly I tell you, unless you turn and become as little children, you will in no way enter into the kingdom of heaven. 4 Whoever therefore humbles himself as this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. 5 Whoever receives one such little child in my name receives me. 6 But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him if a huge millstone were hung around his neck, and that he were sunk in the depths of the sea. 7 Woe to the world because of occasions of stumbling, for it must be that the occasions come, but woe to that person through whom the occasion comes. 8 If your hand or your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and cast it from you. It is better for you to enter into life maimed or crippled, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into the eternal fire. 9 If your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out and cast it from you. It is better for you to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into the Gehenna of fire. 10 See that you don't despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. 11 For the Son of Man came to save that which was lost. 12 What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep, and one of them goes astray, doesn't he leave the 99, go to the mountains, and seek that which has gone astray? 13 If he finds it, most certainly I tell you, he rejoices over it more than over the 99 which have not gone astray. 14 Even so it is not the will of your Father who is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. 15 If your brother sins against you, go, show him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained back your brother. 16 But if he doesn't listen, take 1 or 2 more with you, that at the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. Star of David 17 If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the assembly. If he refuses to hear the assembly also, let him be to you as a Gentile or a tax collector. 18 Most certainly I tell you, whatever things you bind on earth will have been bound in heaven, and whatever things you release on earth will have been released in heaven. 19 Again, assuredly I tell you, that if 2 of you will agree on earth concerning anything that they will ask, it will be done for them by my Father who is in heaven. 24 Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the middle of them. 21 Then Peter came and said to him, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Until 7 times. 22 Jesus said to him, I don't tell you until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. 23 Therefore the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. 24 When he had begun to settle, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. 25 But because he couldn't pay, his lord commanded him to be sold, with his wife, his children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. 26 The servant therefore fell down and knelt before him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will repay you all. 27 The lord of that servant, being moved with compassion, released him and forgave him the debt. 28 But that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and he grabbed him and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me what you owe. 29 So his fellow servant fell down at his feet and begged him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will repay you. 30 He would not, but went and cast him into prison until he should pay back that which was due. 31 So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were exceedingly sorry, and came and told their lord all that was done. 32 Then his lord called him in and said to him, You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you begged me. 33 Shouldn't you also have had mercy on your fellow servant, even as I had mercy on you? 34 His lord was angry, and delivered him to the tormentors, until he should pay all that was due to him. 35 So my heavenly Father will also do to you, if you don't each forgive your brother from your hearts for his misdeeds. Chapter 19 1 When Jesus had finished these words, he departed from Galilee and came into the borders of Judea beyond the Jordan. 2 great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. 3 Pharisees came to him, testing him and saying, Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any reason? For he answered, Haven't you read that he who made them from the beginning made them male and female, Star of David 5, and said, For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother, and shall be joined to his wife, and the 2 shall become one flesh, Star of David 6, so that they are no more 2, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, don't let man tear apart. 7 They asked him, Why then did Moses command us to give her a certificate of divorce and divorce her. 8 He said to them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, allowed you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it has not been so. 9 I tell you that whoever divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another, commits adultery, and he who marries her when she is divorced commits adultery. 10 His disciples said to him, If this is the case of the man with his wife, it is not expedient to marry. 11 But he said to them, Not all men can receive this saying, but those to whom it is given. 12 For there are eunuchs who were born that way from their mother's womb, and there are eunuchs who were made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He who is able to receive it, let him receive it. 13 Then little children were brought to him, that he should lay his hands on them and pray, and the disciples rebuked them. 14 But Jesus said, Allow the little children, and don't forbid them to come to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to ones like these. 15 He laid his hands on them, and departed from there. 16 Behold, one came to him and said, Good teacher, what good thing shall I do, that I may have eternal life? 17 He said to him, Why do you call me good? No one is good but one, that is, God. But if you want to enter into life, keep the commandments. 18 He said to him, Which ones? Jesus said, You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not offer false testimony. 19 Honor your father and your mother, Star of David, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself, Star of David. 20 The young man said to him, All these things I have observed from my youth. What do I still lack? 21 Jesus said to him, If you want to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come, follow me. 22 But when the young man heard this, he went away sad, for he was one who had great possessions. 23 Jesus said to his disciples, Most certainly I say to you, a rich man will enter into the kingdom of heaven with difficulty. 24 Again I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through a needle's eye than for a rich man to enter into God's kingdom. 25 When the disciples heard it, they were exceedingly astonished, saying, Who then can be saved? 26 Looking at them, Jesus said, With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. 27 Then Peter answered, Behold, we have left everything and followed you. What then will we have? 28 Jesus said to them, Most certainly I tell you that you who have followed me, in the regeneration when the Son of Man will sit on the throne of his glory, you also will sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. 29 Everyone who has left houses, or brothers, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, will receive 100 times, and will inherit eternal life. 30 But many will be last who are first, and first who are last. Chapter 20 1 For the kingdom of heaven is like a man who was the master of a household, who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. 2 When he had agreed with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. 3 He went out about the 3rd hour, and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. 4 He said to them, You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right I will give you. So they went their way. 5 Again he went out about the 6th and the 9th hour, and did likewise. 6 About the 11th hour section he went out and found others standing idle. He said to them, Why do you stand here all day idle? 7 They said to him, Because no one has hired us. He said to them, You also go into the vineyard, and you will receive whatever is right. 8 When evening had come, the Lord of the vineyard said to his manager, Call the laborers and pay them their wages, beginning from the last to the first. 9 When those who were hired at about the 11th hour came, they each received a denarius. 10 When the first came, they supposed that they would receive more, and they likewise each received a denarius. 11 When they received it, they murmured against the master of the household. 12 Saying, These last have spent 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat. 13 But he answered one of them, Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Didn't you agree with me for a denarius? 14 Take that which is yours and go your way. It is my desire to give to this last just as much as to you. 15 Isn't it lawful for me to do what I want to with what I own? Or is your eye evil because I am good? 16 So the last will be first, and the first last. For many are called, but few are chosen. 17 As Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside, and on the way he said to them, 18 Behold, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death, 19 And will hand him over to the Gentiles to mock, to scourge, and to crucify, and the third day he will be raised up. 20 Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came to him with her sons, kneeling and asking a certain thing of him. 21 He said to her, What do you want? She said to him, Command that these, my 2 sons, may sit, one on your right hand and one on your left hand, in your kingdom. 22 But Jesus answered, You don't know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am about to drink, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? They said to him, We are able. 23 He said to them, You will indeed drink my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it is for whom it has been prepared by my Father. 24 When the 10 heard it, they were indignant with the 2 brothers. 25 But Jesus summoned them and said, You know that the rulers of the nations lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. 26 It shall not be so among you, but whoever desires to become great among you shall be your servant. 27 Whoever desires to be first among you shall be your bondservant. 28 Even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. 29 As they went out from Jericho, a great multitude followed him. 30 Behold, 2 blind men sitting by the road, when they heard that Jesus was passing by, cried out, Lord, have mercy on us, you Son of David. 31 The multitude rebuked them, telling them that they should be quiet, but they cried out even more, Lord, have mercy on us, you Son of David. 32 Jesus stood still and called them, and asked, What do you want me to do for you? 33 They told him, Lord, that our eyes may be opened. 34 Jesus, being moved with compassion, touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received their sight, and they followed him. Chapter 21 When they came near to Jerusalem and came to Bethphage, to the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent 2 disciples, 2 saying to them, Go into the village that is opposite you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. 3 If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, The Lord needs them, and immediately he will send them. 4 All this was done, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken through the prophet, saying, 5 Tell the daughter of Zion, Behold, your king comes to you, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. 6 The disciples went and did just as Jesus commanded them. 7 And brought the donkey and the colt, and laid their clothes on them, and he sat on them. 8 A very great multitude spread their clothes on the road. Others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. 9 The multitudes who went in front of him, and those who followed, kept shouting, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. 10 When he had come into Jerusalem, all the city was stirred up, saying, Who is this? 11 The multitude said, This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth of Galilee. 12 Jesus entered into the temple of God, and drove out all of those who sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the money changers' tables and the seats of those who sold the doves. 13 He said to them, It is written, My house shall be called a house of prayer, Star of David, but you have made it a den of robbers. 14 The lame and the blind came to him in the temple, and he healed them. 15 But when the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children who were crying in the temple and saying, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were indignant. 16 And said to him, Do you hear what these are saying? Jesus said to them, Yes. Did you never read, Out of the mouth of children and nursing babies you have perfected praise? 17 He left them and went out of the city to Bethany and camped there. 18 Now in the morning, as he returned to the city, he was hungry. 19 Seeing a fig tree by the road, he came to it and found nothing on it but leaves. He said to it, Let there be no fruit from you forever. Immediately, the fig tree withered away. 20 When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, "How did the fig tree immediately wither away?" 21 Jesus answered them, "Most certainly I tell you, if you have faith and don't doubt, you will not only do what was done to the fig tree, but even if you told this mountain, 'Be taken up and cast into the sea,' it would be done." 22 All things, whatever you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive. 23 When he had come into the temple, the chief priests and the elders of the people came to him as he was teaching, and said, "By what authority do you do these things? Who gave you this authority?" 24 Jesus answered them, "I also will ask you one question, which if you tell me, I likewise will tell you by what authority I do these things." 25 The baptism of John, where was it from? From heaven or from men? They reasoned with themselves, saying, "If we say, 'From heaven,' he will ask us, 'Why then did you not believe him?' 26 But if we say, 'From men,' we fear the multitude, for all hold John as a prophet." 27 They answered Jesus and said, "We don't know." He also said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." 28 But what do you think? A man had 2 sons, and he came to the first and said, "Son, go work today in my vineyard." 29 He answered, "I will not." But afterward he changed his mind and went. 30 He came to the second and said the same thing. He answered, "I'm going, sir." But he didn't go. 31 Which of the 2 did the will of his father? They said to him, "The first." Jesus said to them, "Most certainly I tell you that the tax collectors and the prostitutes are entering into God's kingdom before you." 32 For John came to you in the way of righteousness, and you didn't believe him, but the tax collectors and the prostitutes believed him. When you saw it, you didn't even repent afterward, that you might believe him. 33 Hear another parable. There was a man who was a master of a household who planted a vineyard, set a hedge about it, dug a wine press in it, built a tower, leased it out to farmers, and went into another country. 34 When the season for the fruit came near, he sent his servants to the farmers to receive his fruit. 35 The farmers took his servants, beat one, killed another, and stoned another. 36 Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they treated them the same way. 37 But afterward he sent to them his son, saying, "They will respect my son." 38 But the farmers, when they saw the son, said among themselves, "This is the heir, come, let's kill him and seize his inheritance." 39 So they took him and threw him out of the vineyard, then killed him. 40 When therefore the Lord of the vineyard comes, what will he do to those farmers? 41 They told him, "He will miserably destroy those miserable men, and will lease out the vineyard to other farmers, who will give him the fruit in its season." 42 Jesus said to them, "Did you never read in the scriptures? The stone which the builders rejected was made the head of the corner. This was from the Lord. It is marvelous in our eyes." 43 Therefore I tell you, God's kingdom will be taken away from you and will be given to a nation producing its fruit. 44 He who falls on this stone will be broken to pieces, but on whomever it will fall, it will scatter him as dust. 45 When the chief priests and the Pharisees heard his parables, they perceived that he spoke about them. 46 When they sought to seize him, they feared the multitudes, because they considered him to be a prophet. Chapter 22 1 Jesus answered and spoke to them again in parables, saying, 2 The kingdom of heaven is like a certain king, who made a wedding feast for his son. 3 And sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding feast, but they would not come. 4 Again he sent out other servants, saying, Tell those who are invited, Behold, I have prepared my dinner. My cattle and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the wedding feast. 5 But they made light of it, and went their ways, one to his own farm, another to his merchandise. 6 And the rest grabbed his servants, treated them shamefully, and killed them. 7 When the king heard that, he was angry and sent his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. 8 Then he said to his servants, The wedding is ready, but those who were invited weren't worthy. 9 Go therefore to the intersections of the highways, and as many as you may find, invite to the wedding feast. 10 Those servants went out into the highways and gathered together as many as they found, both bad and good. The wedding was filled with guests. 11 But when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man who didn't have on wedding clothing. 12 And he said to him, Friend, how did you come in here not wearing wedding clothing? He was speechless. 13 Then the king said to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away, and throw him into the outer darkness. That is where the weeping and grinding of teeth will be. 14 For many are called, but few chosen. 15 Then the Pharisees went and took counsel how they might entrap him in his talk. 16 They sent their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are honest, and teach the way of God in truth, no matter whom you teach, for you aren't partial to anyone. 17 Tell us therefore, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? 18 But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, Why do you test me, you hypocrites? 19 Show me the tax money. They brought to him a denarius. 20 He asked them, Whose is this image and inscription? 21 They said to him, Caesar. Then he said to them, Give therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar, and to God the things that are God's. 22 When they heard it, they marveled, and left him and went away. 23 On that day Sadducees, those who say that there is no resurrection, came to him. They asked him, 24 saying, Teacher, Moses said, If a man dies having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up offspring for his brother. 25 Now there were with us 7 brothers. The first married and died, and having no offspring left his wife to his brother. 26 In the same way, the second also, and the third to the 7th. 27 After them all, the woman died. 28 In the resurrection therefore, whose wife will she be of the 7? For they all had her. 29 But Jesus answered them, You are mistaken, not knowing the Scriptures nor the power of God. 34 In the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like God's angels in heaven. 31 But concerning the resurrection of the dead, haven't you read that which was spoken to you by God, saying, 32 I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. 33 When the multitudes heard it, they were astonished at his teaching. 34 But the Pharisees, when they heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, gathered themselves together. 35 One of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him. 36 Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? 37 Jesus said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. 38 This is the first and great commandment. 39 A second likewise is this, You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Star of David. 40 The whole law and the prophets depend on these 2 commandments. 41 Now, while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them a question, 42 saying, What do you think of the Christ? Whose son is he? They said to him, Of David. 43 He said to them, How then does David in the Spirit call him Lord, saying, 44 The Lord said to my Lord, Sit on my right hand, until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. 45 If then David calls him Lord, how is he his son? 46 No one was able to answer him a word, neither did any man dare ask him any more questions from that day forward. Chapter 23 1 Then Jesus spoke to the multitudes and to his disciples, 2 saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. 3 All things therefore whatever they tell you to observe, observe and do, but don't do their works, for they say and don't do. 4 For they bind heavy burdens that are grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not lift a finger to help them. 5 But they do all their works to be seen by men. They make their phylacteries broad and enlarge the fringes of their garments. 6 And love the place of honor at feasts, the best seats in the synagogues. 7 The salutations in the marketplaces, and to be called Rabbi, Rabbi by men. 8 But you are not to be called Rabbi, for one is your teacher, the Christ, and all of you are brothers. 9 Call no man on the earth your father, for one is your Father, he who is in heaven. 10 Neither be called masters, for one is your Master, the Christ. 11 But he who is greatest among you will be your servant. 12 Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. 13 Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses, and as a pretense you make long prayers. Therefore you will receive greater condemnation. 14 But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men, for you don't enter in yourselves, neither do you allow those who are entering in to enter. Section 15. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you travel around by sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he becomes one, you make him twice as much a son of Gehenna as yourselves. 16. Woe to you, you blind guides, who say, whoever swears by the temple, it is nothing, but whoever swears by the gold of the temple, he is obligated. 17. You blind fools, for which is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold? 18. And whoever swears by the altar, it is nothing, but whoever swears by the gift that is on it, he is obligated. 19. You blind fools, for which is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctifies the gift? 20. He therefore who swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. 21. He who swears by the temple swears by it and by him who has been living in it. 22. He who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who sits on it. 23. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint, dill, and cumin, and have left undone the weightier matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faith. But you ought to have done these, and not to have left the other undone. 24. You blind guides, who strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. 25. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and unrighteousness. Section 26. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and of the platter, that its outside may become clean also. 27. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitened tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but inwardly are full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. 28. Even so you also outwardly appear righteous to men, but inwardly you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. 29. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you build the tombs of the prophets and decorate the tombs of the righteous. 30. And say, if we had lived in the days of our fathers, we wouldn't have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. 31. Therefore you testify to yourselves that you are children of those who killed the prophets. 32. Fill up, then, the measure of your fathers. 33. You serpents, you offspring of vipers, how will you escape the judgment of Gehenna? 34. Therefore, behold, I send to you prophets, wise men, and scribes. Some of them you will kill and crucify, and some of them you will scourge in your synagogues and persecute from city to city. 35. That on you may come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zachariah son of Barakah, whom you killed between the sanctuary and the altar. 36. Most certainly, I tell you, all these things will come upon this generation. 37. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, who kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to her. How often I would have gathered your children together, even as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you would not. 38. Behold, your house is left to you desolate. 39. For I tell you, you will not see me from now on until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Chapter 24. One Jesus went out from the temple and was going on his way. His disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. 2. But he answered them, you see all of these things, don't you? Most certainly I tell you, there will not be left here one stone on another that will not be thrown down. 3. As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when will these things be? What is the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? 4. Jesus answered them, be careful that no one leads you astray. 5. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will lead many astray. 6. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you aren't troubled, for all this must happen, but the end is not yet. 7. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, plagues, and earthquakes in various places. 8. But all these things are the beginning of birth pains. 9. Then they will deliver you up to oppression and will kill you. You will be hated by all of the nations for my name's sake. 10. Then many will stumble and will deliver up one another and will hate one another. 11. Many false prophets will arise and will lead many astray. 12. Because iniquity will be multiplied, the love of many will grow cold. 13. But he who endures to the end will be saved. 14. This good news of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world for a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. 15. When therefore you see the abomination of desolation, Star of David, which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. 16 Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. 17 Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take out the things that are in his house. 18 Let him who is in the field not return back to get his clothes. 19 But woe to those who are with child and to nursing mothers in those days. 20 Pray that your flight will not be in the winter nor on a Sabbath. 21 For then there will be great suffering, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, nor ever will be. 22 Unless those days had been shortened, no flesh would have been saved. But for the sake of the chosen ones, those days will be shortened. 23 Then if any man tells you, Behold, here is the Christ, or there, don't believe it. 24 For false Christs and false prophets will arise, and they will show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones. 25 Behold, I have told you beforehand. 26 If therefore they tell you, Behold, he is in the wilderness, don't go out, or Behold, he is in the inner rooms, don't believe it. 27 For as the lightning flashes from the east, and is seen even to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. 28 For wherever the carcass is, that is where the vultures gather together. 29 But immediately after the suffering of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Star of David 30 And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. Then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. 31 He will send out his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his chosen ones from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. 32 Now from the fig tree learn this parable. When its branch has now become tender and produces its leaves, you know that the summer is near. 33 Even so you also, when you see all these things, know that he is near, even at the doors. 34 Most certainly I tell you, this generation section will not pass away until all these things are accomplished. 35 Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. 36 But no one knows of that day and hour, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. 37 As the days of Noah were, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. 38 For as in those days which were before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ship. 39 And they didn't know until the flood came and took them all away, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. 40 Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one will be left. 41 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one will be left. 42 Watch therefore, for you don't know in what hour your Lord comes. 43 But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what watch of the night the thief was coming, he would have watched, and would not have allowed his house to be broken into. 44 Therefore also be ready, for in an hour that you don't expect, the Son of Man will come. 45 Who then is the faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord has set over his household, to give them their food in due season? 46 Blessed is that servant whom his Lord finds doing so when he comes. 47 Most certainly, I tell you that he will set him over all that he has. 48 But if that evil servant should say in his heart, My Lord is delaying his coming, 49 And begins to beat his fellow servants, and eat and drink with the drunkards, 50 The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he doesn't expect it, and in an hour when he doesn't know it, 51 And will cut him in pieces, and appoint his portion with the hypocrites. That is where the weeping and grinding of teeth will be. Chapter 25 1 Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. 3 Those who were foolish, when they took their lamps, took no oil with them. 4 But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. 5 Now while the bridegroom delayed, they all slumbered and slept. 6 But at midnight there was a cry, Behold, the bridegroom is coming, come out to meet him. 7 Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. 8 The foolish said to the wise, Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. 9 But the wise answered, saying, What if there isn't enough for us and you? You go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. 10 While they went away to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was shut. 11 Afterward the other virgins also came, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. 12 But he answered, Most certainly I tell you, I don't know you. 13 Watch therefore, for you don't know the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. 14, for it is like a man going into another country, who called his own servants and entrusted his goods to them. 15, to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his own ability. Then he went on his journey. 16, immediately he who received the 5 talents went and traded with them, and made another 5 talents. 17, in the same way, he also who got the 2 gained another 2. 18, but he who received the 1 talent went away and dug in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. 19, now after a long time, the Lord of those servants came, and settled accounts with them. 20, he who received the 5 talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained another 5 talents in addition to them. 21, his Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things, I will set you over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. 22, he also who got the 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained another 2 talents in addition to them. 23, his Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will set you over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. 24, he also who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you that you are a hard man, reaping where you didn't sow, and gathering where you didn't scatter. 25, I was afraid, and went away and hid your talent in the earth. Behold, you have what is yours. 26, but his Lord answered him, You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I didn't sow, and gather where I didn't scatter. 27, you ought therefore to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received back my own with interest. 28, take away therefore the talent from him, and give it to him who has the 10 talents. 29, for to everyone who has will be given, and he will have abundance, but from him who doesn't have, even that which he has will be taken away. 30, throw out the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. 31, but when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. 32, before him all the nations will be gathered, and he will separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. 33, he will set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. 34, then the king will tell those on his right hand, Come, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. 35, for I was hungry, and you gave me food to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. 36, I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. 37, then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? 38, when did we see you as a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? 39, when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? 40, the king will answer them, Most certainly I tell you, because you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me. 41, then he will say also to those on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire which is prepared for the devil and his angels. 42, for I was hungry, and you didn't give me food to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. 43, I was a stranger, and you didn't take me in, naked, and you didn't clothe me, sick, and in prison, and you didn't visit me. 44, then they will also answer, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and didn't help you? 45, then he will answer them, saying, Most certainly I tell you, because you didn't do it to one of the least of these, you didn't do it to me. 46, these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. Chapter 27. 1 Now when morning had come, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. 2 They bound him, led him away, and delivered him up to Pontius Pilate, the governor. 3 Then Judas, who betrayed him, when he saw that Jesus was condemned, felt remorse, and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in that I betrayed innocent blood. But they said, What is that to us? You see to it. 5. He threw down the pieces of silver in the sanctuary and departed. Then he went away and hanged himself. 6. The chief priests took the pieces of silver and said, "It's not lawful to put them into the treasury, since it is the price of blood." 7. They took counsel and bought the potter's field with them to bury strangers in. 8. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. 9. Then that which was spoken through Jeremiah *, the prophet was fulfilled, saying, "They took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him upon whom a price had been set, whom some of the children of Israel priced. 10. And they gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord commanded me, Star of David." 11. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said to him, "So you say." 12. When he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. 13. Then Pilate said to him, "Don't you hear how many things they testify against you?" 14. He gave him no answer, not even one word, so that the governor marveled greatly. 15. Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to release to the multitude one prisoner whom they desired. 16. They had then a notable prisoner called Barabbas. 17. When therefore they were gathered together, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you want me to release to you, Barabbas, or Jesus who is called Christ?" 18. For he knew that, because of envy, they had delivered him up. 19. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him, saying, "Have nothing to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered many things today in a dream because of him." 20. Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitudes to ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus. 21. But the governor answered them, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" They said, "Barabbas." 22. Pilate said to them, "What then shall I do to Jesus, who is called Christ?" They all said to him, "Let him be crucified." 23. But the governor said, "Why, what evil has he done?" But they cried out exceedingly, saying, "Let him be crucified." 24. So when Pilate saw that nothing was being gained, but rather that a disturbance was starting, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, "I am innocent of the blood of this righteous person. You see to it." 25. All the people answered, "May his blood be on us and on our children." 26. Then he released Barabbas to them, but Jesus he flogged and delivered to be crucified. 27. Then the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole garrison together against him. 28. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. 29. They braided a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand, and they kneeled down before him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" 30. They spat on him and took the reed and struck him on the head. 31. When they had mocked him, they took the robe off him and put his clothes on him and led him away to crucify him. 32. As they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name, and they compelled him to go with them, that he might carry his cross. 33. When they came to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, the place of a skull. 34. They gave him sour wine to drink mixed with gall. When he had tasted it, he would not drink. 35. When they had crucified him, they divided his clothing among them, casting lots. Section 36. And they sat and watched him there. 37. They set up over his head the accusation against him written, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." 38. Then there were two robbers crucified with him, one on his right hand and one on the left. 39. Those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads 40 and saying, "You who destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." 41. Likewise the chief priests, also mocking with the scribes, the Pharisees, and the elders, said, 42. He saved others, but he can't save himself. If he is the King of Israel, let him come down from the cross now, and we will believe in him. 43. He trusts in God. Let God deliver him now if he wants him, for he said, "I am the Son of God." 44. The robbers also who were crucified with him cast on him the same reproach. 45. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. 46. About the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani," that is, my God, why have you forsaken me, Star of David?" 47 Some of them who stood there when they heard it said, "This man is calling Elijah." 48 Immediately one of them ran and took a sponge, filled it with vinegar, put it on a reed, and gave him a drink. 49 The rest said, "Let him be. Let's see whether Elijah comes to save him." 50 Jesus cried again with a loud voice and yielded up his spirit. 51 Behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from the top to the bottom. The earth quaked and the rocks were split. 52 The tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. 53 And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they entered into the holy city and appeared to many. 54 Now the centurion and those who were with him watching Jesus, when they saw the earthquake and the things that were done, were terrified, saying, "Truly this was the Son of God." 55 Many women were there watching from afar, who had followed Jesus from Galilee, serving him. 56 Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joses, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. 57 When evening had come, a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself was also Jesus' disciple, came. 58 This man went to Pilate and asked for Jesus' body. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given up. 59 Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen cloth. 60 And laid it in his own new tomb, which he had cut out in the rock. Then he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb and departed. 61 Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary sitting opposite the tomb. 62 Now on the next day, which was the day after the preparation day, the chief priests and the Pharisees were gathered together to Pilate. 63 Saying, "Sir, we remember what that deceiver said while he was still alive. After 3 days I will rise again." 64 Command therefore that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest perhaps his disciples come at night and steal him away, and tell the people, "He is risen from the dead," and the last deception will be worse than the first. 65 Pilate said to them, "You have a guard, go make it as secure as you can." 66 So they went with the guard and made the tomb secure, sealing the stone. Chapter 28 One now after the Sabbath, as it began to dawn on the 1st day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. 2 Behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from the sky and came and rolled away the stone from the door and sat on it. 3 His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. 4 For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. 5 The angel answered the women, "Don't be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus, who has been crucified. 6 He is not here, for he has risen just like he said. Come, see the place where the Lord was lying. 7 Go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead, and behold, he goes before you into Galilee, there you will see him. Behold, I have told you." 8 They departed quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to bring his disciples word. 9 As they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, "Rejoice." They came and took hold of his feet and worshipped him. 10 Then Jesus said to them, "Don't be afraid. Go tell my brothers that they should go into Galilee, and there they will see me." 11 Now while they were going, behold, some of the guards came into the city and told the chief priests all the things that had happened. 12 When they were assembled with the elders and had taken counsel, they gave a large amount of silver to the soldiers. 13 Saying, "Say that his disciples came by night and stole him away while we slept." 14 If this comes to the governor's ears, we will persuade him and make you free of worry. 15 So they took the money and did as they were told. This saying was spread abroad among the Jews and continues until today. 16 But the 11 disciples went into Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had sent them. 17 When they saw him, they bowed down to him, but some doubted. 18 Jesus came to them and spoke to them, saying, "All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth." 19 Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. 20 Teaching them to observe all things that I commanded you. Behold, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Amen.